And welcome to the back roads of South Carolina. I had to stop right here to check out this little place. I don't know if this was a store at one time or what, but it says cabin up there. Has a little Coke signage. That's pretty awesome. Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be quite the adventure as we're going to do some rural South Carolina stuff here on the back roads. Check out some small towns, make the day of it. I am going to kind of venture up into North Carolina a bit. There's a little town up there called Gibson. That's where we're going to end our vlog today. All that being said, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, right here's some of the houses as we drive in. Look at that. That is nice. But I'm figuring we're going to see some nice homes. And you're going to have some like that on this little trip here in South Carolina. So this is the small town of Clio. Look at that place. And right up here is the downtown area. So really looking forward to seeing what we can see. I know one thing, the roads are very bumpy. Okay, I've made my way into the downtown area here in Clio. So here's the intersection of Red Bluff Road and Society Street. And we have a plaque right up here. Gives us a little bit of information about the town of Clio, South Carolina. So it says up here we got McLaurin's Muster Ground, located at the crossroads, became a polling place in 1825. According to local tradition, the community was later called Ivy's Roads. A post office named Clio was established here in 1836, and the town was incorporated in 1882. The Florence Railroad Company extended its Lotta Branch line into Clio in 1895. Well, there you go. Man, this place is something to see. Look at that old grocery store over there with that Coke sign. We have to walk over there and check that out. And definitely I want to go over here and check out this building. That looks awesome. It's called the Opera House, Eden's Opera House. As you can see, there used to be a sign right there hanging over that business. Long been removed. Have bars on the windows and the door here in this location. That's not even a jail. Quite a bit of growth happening up there. And this building here is in really bad shape. You can see that light fixture right there. Notice how it's just caving in. Matter of fact, this place don't even have a roof on it. You can see straight up through the windows and out the top of the building. To be such a dead little town, there is a lot of traffic through here, that's for sure. And this store here is another one. It's all boarded up. It just says Wrights down here on the entryway. Maybe that was the name of this store at one time. More bars up on these windows and across the door. According to the census report of 2020, only about 608 people live here in this town now. And at one time, its highest popularity was in 1980. It had 1,031 people here. And then it's been a slow decline to the 608 ever since. Just losing a couple hundred every decade, more or less. But this right here is awesome. It's like we got some stained glass going on. Look at the brickwork up there. Very old school, really cool. This here was called Dennis Community Grocery. Enjoy Coca-Cola. Man, that is awesome building. Love that sign right there. That is so cool. Okay, so I made my way across the square here to the opposite side where we can get a little bit better view of this cool opera house located here in the town. And I gotta say, this place is so epic. And it's weird. Right now, it's a Napa Auto Parts store. But back when this place was built in 1910 is when this structure was built. It was indeed an opera house. Has an upstairs and it's very expansive. It actually goes back, you know, quite a way. So there's a lot of room in there for people to go inside and enjoy a show. And right next to it, I don't know if this is still the case, but look right there, this little brick building, the signage, it says police department. That is a very small police department, but I would imagine you don't need a huge police department if you have a town, you know, with probably less than 600 people. Now, there is not a lot of people moving around here, and this is on a weekend. Now, there's a lot of people driving through town, but there's not a lot of people hanging out, if you know what I mean. Okay, I made my way down the sidewalk a little bit further. This old Exxon sign right here, which I don't know if this place is still open or not, but it is an old service station right here. But a lot of the windows are been broken out. This sliding glass like bay door right here, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell if it's abandoned or is it still there or not. But I do know right across the way from that, right across the street here, is the old Clio Medical Center. Look at this old brick building. Kind of hard to tell if people still use this or not, or has it been shut down for a really long time? I would imagine so. That looks abandoned to me. Even the parking area over here, like some of the grass is really starting to take over the parking. So maybe they don't use this anymore. I think it's safe to say when you come to some of these old southern towns like this, especially one like this where there's so much stuff that's been boarded up, closed down, just kind of withering away, you can definitely tell the money has really began to dry up in these communities. And right when I was starting to leave town, look at this awesome residence. Look at this house, that spire, that is awesome. What a cool looking home right here in Clio, South Carolina. Some of the places around here are very abandoned, but then you will come across something like this where it's really been well maintained and taken care of. That is beautiful. Okay, and welcome to our next destination on this little road trip today on the back roads. Welcome to Mccoll, South Carolina. About 2,000 people lives here as far as the 2020 census go. And look at this ghost signage right on the side of this building. That is epic. Not a Coke sign that you see in just about every other small town, but they actually have Pepsi and they have Mountain Dew right here. That is pretty cool. All right, I made my way down the street just a bit down here to this Pepsi coming sign. I thought there was going to be something down here, but they're not. Used to be, but something has been removed. But maybe at one time it was a part of this store down here, because it says Cummings Auto Sale on it. So maybe the same owner owned two different buildings here. But this here is just an old barber shop right next door to that. But let's check out the Cummings Auto Sales. A lot of bugs here. I am telling you, man, the gnats, the no-see-ums are having a great time with me today. But look at that old rusted out sign up there. Cummins Bros Auto Sales. And they got some old analog style gas pumps right out front here. Look at that. The non-digital kind. Man, you do not see that every day. Look at that. That is rad. That is so cool. And right here is the front of this place. Cummins Service Center. New and used tires. I would imagine this is not open anymore. Might be. Look at all those relics inside. That old radio. Oh my God. Look at that Toshiba TV with the little VHS built in it. What the heck? It's like frozen in time in there. That antenna. This is crazy. And they got another gas pump right over here that even predates these other ones. This is so cool. That is awesome. So as I walk toward the downtown area to look at some of the storefronts down here, some of the notables of famous people that have came out of the town of Mccoll is a guy by the name of Doc Blanchard. He is supposedly the first junior to win college football's Heisman Trophy Award. He's known as Mr. Insight. He actually played for Army. So that is a really cool thing to be known for, being the first person to win the Heisman Trophy come out of this town right here. For me, I have heard of the town of Mccoll before. It goes back into the early 90s. Y'all remember Michael Jordan's father, who was, you know, murdered. They could not find his body for quite some time after his murder. Several weeks had gone by. His body had been decomposing. Well, they found his body just outside of Mccoll in a creek. So that's how I remember the name Mccoll. Unfortunately, I've actually watched like documentaries and stuff, even on YouTube, about that whole, how it all went down and happened. And the creek itself is just not very far out of this downtown area where they actually recovered his body. And the only way they knew who he was, I think, was his dental records, I believe. So that's not a good memory for me to remember town by, but it is what it is. You know, that's what I kind of remember. But it is a very interesting little town. I tell you, there is no shortage of abandoned and boarded up buildings in these little communities here in this area. Right here, it looks like we have an old furniture store, long been shut down. Then we have this place over here called Spencer's. It's boarded up. Yeah, all these stores down here look boarded up. Absolutely nothing going on. The only thing that's open is whatever's in this store right over here. I made my way across the road just to get a little bit closer look at some of these buildings. This here was the Mccoll Furniture Company at one time. It's wild. So this right here looks to be the main thing that people are using today, is this Great Wall Chinese restaurant. Seen quite a few people come, you know, in and out of that place. But all these other places are mostly just boarded up. Not a lot going on. Does look like they have a little local ice cream shop right here on the main drag, but a lot of people are calling in their Chinese food orders, and that's about all that's happening much here in this little small town. Even this, I wanted to come down here. They got this place here called a seafood house, but there ain't nothing going on there neither. It looks like it's very blacked out. Doors locked, padlocks on it. Not a lot going on there neither. And this last building also completely boarded up and closed. Wow, look at this old pizza shack right here. Jack's Pizza Subs and Hot Wings. Got this cool little mural right here on the side of the building. I bet this place was very, very busy at one time back in the day. Because who don't love pizza, hot sub, and chicken wings? And then right across the road, we have this place. This and that. Bullards. This and that. That's what it says right up there on that little sign. That is pretty cool. All right, let's continue on and make our way, I guess, up toward Gibson maybe. I think I've kind of looked at Mccoll about all I can do. Let's go see what Gibson has to offer. And that's just across the border from South Carolina into North Carolina. Gibson, North Carolina. All right, I'm leaving Mccoll, making my way toward Gibson. I gotta say one thing. These roads are really, really straight out here, and a lot of farmland, a lot of open ranges. See all kind of crops just like that. That's cotton, and a lot of it. Okay, and here I am. I just entered in the town of Gibson, and right there in the distance you can see the old train depot here in Gibson. And kind of origins of this town kind of sprung off of this railroad track right here, and where the depot actually sits. This was a small railroad town along the Cape Fear and Yadkin Valley Railway line, which connected it to Fayetteville, Bennetteville, and other regional markets. The town itself was named after a family called the Gibson family. Early settlers here and landowners here in this region. The railroad growth is like the railroad transformed Gibson into a cotton and tobacco shipping point, drawing farmers from both Scotland County and Marlborough County, just, you know, down the road here. So pretty cool. Gibson was officially incorporated in 1899. Man, check out that old building right there. I wonder if that used to be an old bank, possibly. Those columns out front. That is really an awesome looking building. A lot of abandoned and boarded up storefronts here in the downtown area for sure. I mean, this is a wasteland down through here. There is nothing going on whatsoever here in the middle of the day. And check this place out. Now that building is quite impressive. It looks like it has a little bit of signage right there. It says North-South Auction House. And up there at the top it says ZV Pate. Wonder what that means. Right up there. Okay, so I got online real quick and looked up a little bit of information about this place. And it's very interesting. Supposedly, this might have been a bank here in town. It said this is one of the last historic structures or commercial structures still standing in the town of Gibson. And it said it was built as a bank in the early 1900s. But now they use it as an auction house. Let's correct that. So this place right here over my shoulder supposedly was not the bank. It was that place. When I first seen that, I thought that was the bank. And supposedly online, if all the information was right, that there is the bank from 1904. That's what they were referring to. It just does not have that name on it. But the reason that name is up there is because that was just a very prominent, like, you know, business family here in the area that just owned a lot of stuff. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, now we can push forward a little bit further and see what else we can see down here. This old store right here used to be called Talk of the Town. And it was, looks like they got some paint and body shop going on over here. Got some old service bays over here. Look at this. We have us a pit right here in this location. One of my friends, his dad had a pit just like that in his garage back home. And that's where you would climb down in there and work up underneath the car. If you didn't have a lift, you could crawl down in there, change your oil, work on transmissions, things like that. You don't really see that, you know, much anymore. And this side over here, it actually says car wash. At the car wash. Yeah. Ooh, and right here he had a paint and body shop. Check that out. That is a real relic right there. That is really, really cool. Wow, look at this building. Look at that door up there. That looks pretty sketch at best. Super wheels, rims, tires, car audio, mobile video. And right across the street from that, you have the United States Post Office. Is this cute little building right here. Not sure what that is because most of the writing or the signage has, oh man, it's so dilapidated. It's seen better days, that's for sure. This is a wild looking building. Almost feels like you're entering a church right here a little bit. That is pretty awesome, pretty cool. A lot of neat structures I have been lucky enough to see today as we walk around these towns. Okay, and that there is the town hall located here in Gibson, North Carolina. And I thought it was a very strange looking town hall. Maybe that used to be a service station at one time, but maybe not. These 3 bay doors, this might have been a fire department, because if you look right over top of this middle bay door right there, that looks like an old school like siren that you would find at firehouses. Most of them today don't use those. They're more modern now, modernized their whistles, that they even use them everything's so electronic now. They just got pagers and beepers that go off and tell you like when the fire. But back in the day, they used to have those, and they were extremely loud. You could hear them miles away. And I think that used to be maybe the old fire department. But all that being said, I think I'm going to wrap it up today. Had a nice little road trip here on the back roads of South Carolina, just going across the border into North Carolina. Really fun time today looking at some of these old towns. And I gotta admit, some of these old communities look very much abandoned. Not a lot going on, a lot of boarded up windows and dilapidated buildings, but nonetheless, I still like looking at stuff like that. I like learning a little bit about the history about some of the structures and buildings and so on and so forth. So all that being said, I had a great day. I hope you guys had fun hanging out with me, getting to learn a little bit about some of these towns. I hope I was able to shed some light on some stuff. If you know anything about these communities, definitely go ahead, put in the comment section down below what you think. Give me a little bit of knowledge about it. I really do appreciate it. All that being said, my friends, until next time, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. And yeah, that is one big building right there. That place is humongous. That is a monstrous place. But that was perfect for an auction house.